'Diba? Sa mga pagsubok laban lang, Bells Palsy lang siya. Kaya ko pa naman mag-isip eh. 'Diba? Yun nga lang, makikita yung pangit, no? Kasi nahangiwi ako, but that's okay, I think. Okay lang ba sa inyo? Ang mahalaga, naririnig nyo ako, diba? Naririnig nyo ba ako? Okay. That's good. Others recover like in 2 weeks time. Akala ko nga, sabi nga sa hospital dito, stroke daw eh. Nung nakita nila ako, pumunta ako sa maliit na hospital, sabi stroke daw. Pero pinapunta niya ako sa ibang hospital, yung mas malaki kasi wala silang equipments. So pagdating ko sa neurologist, sabi mukhang tinignan ako, Bells Palsy daw. Pero mukhang hindi pa siya hinog daw, sabi, kaya hindi pa masyadong visible yung problema sa mukha. Kaya habang kaya ko mag-discuss, magdi-discuss ako. Diba? Asa na yung iba? Tawagin yung iba, bilis. Si Sir Ed, hindi na sumagot sa mga messages, hindi pa rin sumasagot hanggang ngayon eh.
Sir, na-open na po yung broadband, sir.
Yun nga sinabi ko, kanina kasi late ka eh, late ka pa. Sabi ko na natawag dito, sabihin nyo na kay Daisy, sabi kasi ni Dean sa akin last week Friday yata yon, na by this week pwede na raw mag-open ng mga subjects. Oh.
Sir, tanong lang, kayo po yung bukas namin sa tax 1?
Hindi, si Sir Percy, yung dating program chair, nag-ano siya na in-engage natin siya ulit to teach kasi nga wala si Sir eh.
Okay, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Kala ko, sir, may nagsabi daw kayo daw.
Hindi. Binigay ko na kay Sir Percy yung 3 tax para isang preparation lang siya, tax 1 lang lahat. Ngayon. So again, dun sa mga ngayon lang nag-open. Sorry pagka nahirapan kayong mapakinggan ako. I'm currently suffering from Bells Palsy. Nag-manifest siya nung Monday. So if you would look at my face at the affected area. Yun. Pero hanggat kaya ko mag-lecture ako kesa yung alagaan natin siya, sakit lang siya. Meron naman mga meds mga tawag dito. Binigyan ako ng meds sa ng doctor, so I'm just taking those meds. Dali Asa na yung inopen ko? Ano ba yan? Ito. Okay, class. So for this morning, we will continue our discussion on FS analysis. Now, let me just share my screen with you. Ba't hindi siya lumalabas? Ayun. Okay, so we started our discussion last week on analyzing financial statements, and we've seen that, financial statements are just figures, okay, but what is more important is that we're able to decode what those figures mean, because your analysis of financial statements will help management and other users to really make informed decisions for the business, no? So we've discussed about horizontal and vertical. Sabi natin horizontal is what? Ito yung mga trend analysis, no, where you first choose a base year and then you divide the other years, no, by the base year. So you would know if your business is growing, okay, as compared to your base year. So for example, your base year would be 2016. Then you have 2017, 2018, 2019. So by dividing the figure, say for example the sales for 2017 by 2016, 2018 by 2016, and 2019 by 2016, you would know whether your sales are going up, no, as against your base year or not. Okay, so management will be able to make decisions on how to manage our sales, meaning if they would have to invest some more on marketing because sales are not going up, then they can probably do so, but they can only do that if you have the analysis. Okay, so horizontal, sabi natin, di ba, you look at you look straight, then that's your horizon, so it's comparing actually one year from the other year. Okay, now vertical analysis naman, you are comparing the same year. So here, ang ating example is yung common size financial statement. So wherein we wait, may pumapasok. Okay, so dun sa ating sinasabing yan, common size, anong gagawin natin? Ginagawa natin ay, okay, so we divide the balance sheet, no? Each item in the balance sheet by the total assets for the assets portion, and then each item in the liabilities and shareholders equity by the total liabilities and shareholders equity. So yung ating total assets and total liabilities and shareholders equity are our 100%, no? So ano namang relevance doon? By doing that, you are able to gauge which of your assets actually are hold the bigger chunk of the pie, no? Say for example, the biggest is like receivables. Sabi nga natin, no, there could be some problems with that because number one, well, positive side is it because your sales are increasing, that's why your receivables are increasing, or is it because you're not able to collect efficiently, that's why your receivables are increasing, and it's not good for the business because sabi nga natin, kapag yung company naubusan ng cash flows, then they would have to resort to other means, like say for example going to the banks to avail of loans, and if they will do that, then ang mangyayari is yung profit nila would be eaten up by the interest, and not to mention that they also have to pay the principal on specific dates, specific days, no? So that actually would also affect the cash flows of the company. Kabe 7:30 ang ating klase, ha, ikaw talaga. Okay, so that will also affect the cash flows of the company in the long run, no? Yun. So yung common size financial statements. Now, so in common size financial statements, guys, no, you have to take into account the nature of the business, no? Baka may naman kasi ang nature niya, real property, tapos ang laki-laki ng receivables, sabi hindi problema yan. I mean sa akin baka naman hindi, no, because baka meron silang in-house financing that customers are given like 10 years to 20 years to pay in-house, no? So you have to take into account the nature, nakuha na nila, the nature of the business, okay, for you to be able to analyze the items properly, no? Yan yung common size, and this is an example of the common size balance sheet, no? And the income statement, we are the net sales is our base, so that will receive the 100%, no, yung ating net sales. So if you have gross sales, no, then meron mga discounts and allowances, then your gross sales is more than 100%, no? Basta yung net sales mo ang yung 100%. Then you divide each item by the net sales. So ano naman importance ito? Nakikita mo yung share, no, ng mga bawat item sa iyong income statement on the sales, and eventually yung pinakababa, the net profit. How much is the net profit percentage, no, based on your as compared to your sales, no? Now, it will be more relevant and meaningful if you compare this with another common size income statement of another year, no? Para nakikita mo yung trend. Ano ba nangyayari, say for example sa cost rate mo? 'Di ba? Cost rate mo ba tumaas, bumaba in comparison to your sales, no? Kasi baka mamaya ang taas nga ng net sales mo. Okay, ang taas ng net sales mo, pero tumataas din yung cost of sales, yung cost ratio mo, yung cost of sales divided by net sales, no? Baka tumataas din siya. So, problema din yun. Baka una, sabi nga natin, no, you may have to look into that problem. No? Baka internal control issues na yan, no? Like your purchasing, no, they're not doing the job by ensuring that the company is buying from, suppliers that can offer the least possible price, no, and the equal quality of goods. So yun naman ang ating natutunan dun sa common size income statement, no. So you can also say sa expenses, no, malaki yung salaries, then ilang percent naging from 25% naging 30%, then you may want to look into the reasons why, no. Na lagi ba nag-overtime yung mga tao? If that is the case, then why are they having to render overtime services? Can they not work within the office hours? Baka yung iba dyan nag-ML lang during office hours, no? Kaya, or nagkukwentuhan lang, kaya they need to render overtime work, no, eventually, kasi yun nga, yung kanilang trabaho napupunta sa pinakadulo ng araw, no, and then they charge overtime sa company, kaya nagkakaroon ng mataas na salaries and wages. So those are the things that can be uncovered, no, if you express your financial statements in terms of percentages like a common size, which may not be that which may not manifest, no, kapag ang inyong ginawa ay ano lang, tawag dito yung simpleng income statement lang. You will not be able to see kung ano yung nagbago from one year to the other, and that could trigger investigation, no, as far as the company is concerned. Kinakailangan efficient use of resources. Okay, so for this morning, we are now going to continue our discussion about financial statement analysis, and we are now in financial ratios and firms' performance. Okay, so ratio establish a common reference point across firms. So even though the numerical value and reference points will differ from firm to firm. Okay, so we know for a fact that not all firms will have the same figures. No, some may be small, some may be big. But even though they have different figures, using financial ratios, we will be able to compare and contrast, no, and be able to determine which company is performing better or not, no. So ratios make it easier to compare the performance of large firms to that of small firms. So it doesn't matter whether the company is big or small. If you're using ratio, you would really know whether the company is doing good or not. Which company is doing good or not. Okay, ratios make it easier to compare the current and historical performance of a single firm as the firm changes over time. So like what we have discussed about trend analysis. Okay, so ratio values vary within an industry. So like say for example, sinabi natin to, no? Big Lots, Target, Walmart, so they're all into distribution or retail trading, no? So if you would notice, Big Lots gross margin is 40.6, Target is 30, and then Walmart is 24. So though they are in the same industry, the ratios, the gross margin ratios are actually different. Wait lang. The ratios are actually different, no? So ano masasabi natin dito? They are in the same line of business, but it seems that Big Lots is earning more, no? Because the gross profit is more. So if Walmart will see this, so sabihin niya, bakit ganoon? Bakit si Big Lots sobrang laki ng kanyang gross margin, no? Because as you know, if you have high gross margin, then the more likely that you will be able to generate net income, no, rather than having a 24.9 gross margin percentage, no. So habang lumalaki yung gross margin, pwede ka magkaroon ng net profit, no. Kaya dyan, if you compare your company, even though it's small as compared to the other one that is bigger than you, you'll be able to know whether you are doing it right or not as compared to the bigger firms. So these are the categories of common financial ratios. You have the liquidity, efficiency, leverage, profitability, and market value ratios. Okay, liquidity. So when say liquidity, ito naman yung ability of the company to pay short-term obligations, so with short-term assets without endangering the firm. Now, so dito, we are looking at the short term, no? Kasi nga ito ay, kumbaga, can the company pay its short-term obligations, no? Yun ang ating pag-uusapan dito. Because if you are a short-term creditor, like say for example, a supplier of goods, no, sa isang company, syempre ang gusto mo short-term lang, di ba? Short-term, otherwise, huwag maingay. Short-term lang, otherwise kasi magmumroblema ka pagdating sa cash flows mo. So ano yung dalawang ratios, no, that would indicate the liquidity of the company? So yun yung current ratio natin, which is current assets divided by current liabilities, no? So that's the first formula that you have to remember when it comes to liquidity. So anong sinasabi ng ratio na to? Okay, how much asset, okay, does the company have for every peso of liability? Okay, so for example, the current ratio is like 2:1. So for every 1 peso of liability, the company has 2 pesos of assets to back it up. So kung ikaw yung creditor, medyo kampante ka, no? Kasi meron pang naiiwan. Kumbaga, hindi yung sobrang gipit na, kasi pagka sobrang gipit, like say for example, it's 1:1, no? So magkaroon ng problema yung company, sigurado affected yung kanyang liquidity or ability to pay you as a short-term creditor, no? Unlike a supplier, trade supplier, no? But does it mean kapag malaki yung ratio, yung current ratio niya, like 2:1, no? Does it mean that the company is okay? Does it mean that the company is in a very good position? Tingin nyo, guys. Kapag malaki yung kanyang current ratio, guys, no, for example, it's like 2:1 or 3:1, does it mean ba that the company is good, no, is in good condition and they can really pay you off? Does it follow? Tingin nyo, o divine? Say for example that a company has 3:1 current ratio, ikaw yung creditor, will you grant yung credit facility, or say for example if you are the supplier, will you deliver goods to the customer who has a current ratio of 3:1? I can't hear you. Naka-mute ka yata, Iha. Hindi ka naka-mute pero I can't hear you. Mukha may problema sa mic mo. Oh, does it mean pagka 3:1, the company is able to pay? Hindi kita marinig, Divine. Fix your mic, please. O sige, Divine, balikan kita ha. Si Babalo muna. Asa si Babalo? Yes, Maria Jessica. What can you say? Asan siya? O Charlene. What can you say, Charlene?
Sir, okay po siya. Kasi ibig sabihin every liability there is 3.
Okay, there's 3 peso of asset, no? So for example, sa iyo, kumbaga meron kang additional 200%, no? 200% na buffer, no, nung assets, okay? What can you say, Rhea? Sa Veron. What can you say? If 3:1 ang current ratio ng company, is it an assurance that you will be paid?
Yes po.
Yes, why? Why, Iha? Why do you think so? O yung iba, mag-isip na lang sasabihin nila, ha? O Lloyd, what do you think, Lloyd? Lloyd Omega, what do you think? Lloyd, hindi ako naririnig ni Lloyd, hindi nagre-react. Lloyd. Oh, what do you think? Sige, balikan kita, Kabe. Kabe. Zaira, what do you think? If the company has 3:1 ratio, is that an assurance that you will get paid? Kung ikaw yung supplier, would you extend credit to the customer with a 3:1 ratio? Hindi masyado narinig. If say for example, you are a supplier of goods and your customer has a 3:1 ratio, because sabi nga natin, before you extend credit, no, kinakailangan i-evaluate nyo muna yung company, yung customer nyo, if they're able to pay, right? Hindi naman pwedeng nawala inventory mo tapos hindi ka rin nabayaran. So if say for example, a prospective customer has a current ratio of 3:1, is it an assurance that you will be paid by the customer and you will extend credit to the customer? What do you think, Ms. Kabe? Oh, what do you think? Anong nilagay mo dyan? Anong ginagawa mo, Miss Kabe? Nagta-type ka? Hindi nagka-function yung mic? Labo ko. Labo ko ba? Sige, ganito. Can you hear me now, guys? Can you hear me okay? Hindi. Ba't wala nagsasabi sa inyo? Okay talaga. O, Cleo.
Sir.
Ano na?
Okay na po, sir. Okay na po.
O, Cleo, what do you think? Mark, can you turn your your camera on, please? Christine Joy, please. Lloyd, may nagbibihis sa likod mo. Ano ba yun?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Sabiron. What do you think? Kanina kanina narinig niyo pag tinawag ko na kayo, malabo na. Kayo talaga. Ninyo. What do you think, ninyo? What do you think, ninyo? Choppy. Kayo, pag tinatawag ko na kayo, choppy na. Kapag kanina sabi nyo, ma'am, okay naman yung ano. Sino ang medyo choppy ang dating ko?
Okay naman, sir.
Oh, ba't di makasagot? O Mark, ikaw na lang. Pag tinawag ko na, malabo na yung dating ko.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Anong okay?
Yung ano,
Okay yung signal, okay yung sound, o okay yung 3:1?
Okay yung 3:1.
So kung ikaw yung supplier, you would extend credit to your customer.
Yes.
Okay, that's good, no? Okay, so yung mga sinabi niyo naman, iho-iha, tama naman yon. Kaya lang kasi, you have to understand, no? Ano ba yung composition ng current ratio? Di ba current assets, no? Current assets over current liabilities. So ano ba yung composition ng current assets? You have cash, receivables, inventories, prepayment. Right? Yun ang composition ng current assets natin, di ba? Tama ba? Do you recall your current assets? Okay. So, paano kung yung malaki pala doon ay nasa inventories? So, before they can collect the inventories, anong dapat muna nilang gawin? They have to sell the items. Right? If it will take them like 30 days to sell or even 45 days to sell the items, so anong mangyayari? Lumagpas na yung credit term mo, hindi pa rin nila nakokollect, nabibenta yung mga inventories nila. Did you get it, guys? Nakuha nyo? Kasi hindi lang naman cash yung composition ng current asset natin, di ba? Current assets comprise of your cash, the company's receivables, inventories, and prepayments. So what am I trying to arrive at, guys? You need to look at the composition of current assets of the client, no? Kasi kung yan ay puro inventories, medyo mag-isip-isip ka. Right? Kasi it will take them, say, 40 days to sell the item and another 40 days to collect. So ilang days yun? 80. If your term is like 30 days, chances are you will not receive your payment. Nakuha, guys? Hello, nakuha nyo?
Yes, sir.
So, anong ibig sabihin nun? There has to be another ratio that would tell you kung okay ang company o hindi, no, when it comes to liquidity. Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na quick ratio or anong isang tawag dito, acid test ratio. Yung acid test ratio natin is what? Current assets minus inventory. Kung may prepayment, tanggalin din natin yung prepayment. So, anong ibig sabihin yan? Yung iyong current assets dito would comprise only of liquid assets like cash and receivables. Kasi 'di ba ang receivables, at least yun, medyo mas madali nang maging cash, 'di ba? Remember, ang pagbabayad sa iyo ng iyong customer ay cash, hindi naman receivables din, 'di ba? So kung yung kanilang assets ay nasa receivables na, mas madali na nilang makolekta. Eh sir, di pa rin naman sigurado. What if, for example, it will just take them like 30 days to collect the receivables. So pagka-collect, may pambayad sa iyo. 'Di ba? Unlike kung yan na inventories, they have to sell it before they will be able to collect. So nagdodoble ngayon yung periods, no? Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na quick ratio. So ito, we would expect that this would be lower, no, than the current ratio natin. Because we have excluded items in the current assets like inventory and of course prepayments, okay? So yan. So quick ratio is a quick assets or current assets minus inventories and prepayments over your current liabilities, okay? Nakuha nyo, guys? Guys, nakuha nyo? Hello? Okay. Yan. So, ito naman, efficiency ratios naman. So, dito naman sa efficiency ratios, guys, no? This actually indicates the firm's ability to use assets to produce sales. Okay, so ito yung mga turnover ratios natin. Okay, generally, kapag mas mataas yung numbers ng mga turnovers natin, no? Generally, favorable indicator yon, no? About the company's performance. Okay, one is you have inventory turnover. So inventory turnover, no, medyo ganito konti lang. Okay, inventory turnover, you have cost of goods sold divided by inventory. Now if you're given like 2 years, ang iyong gagamitin na denominator is average inventory, that is previous year plus current year divided by 2. Okay, if you're given 2 years, use average inventory. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin ng inventory turnover na to? Ang sinasabi nito ay ilang beses ba silang nakabenta during the year. Okay? So, pag dinivide mo yung cost of sales by the inventory turnover, say for example, lumabas ay 20 times. Ibig sabihin, they were able to sell, in layman's term, no? They were able to sell inventories 10 times during the year. Okay, or 12 times or whatever yung number of times na yun, no? Yun yung number of times na nakabenta sila. Okay? Now, you can convert this into days, no? Pagdating sa araw, ilan kayang araw yun bago sila makabenta ng inventory? Doon papasok yung day sale in inventory natin. So that is 365 days, that's days in the year, divided by your inventory turnover. Okay? So, ibig sabihin ganito. Yung sinasabi ko kanina na 40 days for them to be able to sell, dito galing yun, inventory turnover, no? Kasi sinasabi nga to, ilang beses ba sila nakabenta? So, in number of days, yung number of days in a year divided by turnover, that will be the number of days that the company is able to sell. So, for example, lumabas 35 days. So, ibig sabihin lang nun, 35 days bago sila makabenta. Okay? Yun yung inventory turnover ratio natin. Nakuha? Now, another one is of course, yung importante rin, syempre yung receivables. You have to check yung receivables nila if they're able to collect. So, unang-una, yung day sales outstanding din, no? Doon na tayo sa accounts receivable turnover. Parang inventory turnover din to. Kaya lang kung inventory turnover, syempre cost of goods sold yun. Itong receivable turnover naman, ang yung numerator ay net sales. Okay, net sales ha. Net sales divided by accounts receivable, or if you are given again 2 years, then you have to use average receivables. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin itong inventory accounts receivable turnover? Just like your inventory turnover, it speaks of, or it tells the users no, how many times the company was able to collect the receivables. So, for example, lumabas dyan 12 times. So, ibig sabihin, 12 times silang nakaka-kolekta ng receivable in a year. Now, if you now try to convert that into number of days, doon mo gagamitin yung days sales outstanding. So, that's the total number of days in a year, no? That's 365 divided by your accounts receivable turnover. So for example, nakita mo rito ay say 25 days. Anong gagawin mo? You have to compare that with the company's credit terms to be able to identify or to determine whether the company is able to collect receivables, okay, within the credit term. Kasi kung credit term mo, for example, 30 days, but your days sales outstanding is only 25, then the company is doing a good job, no? Because mas mababa, mas konting araw ang kinakailangan bago nyo makolekta yung receivables. And, it's falling below the credit time nyo, yung credit term with your customer. Meaning nakakapagbayad sila agad sa inyo. And that's a good job, no? Now, paano kung 30 days pero ang nakalagay sa inyo, nung kinumpute yung turnover, yung days sales outstanding ninyo is 60 days. Is it good or bad? Tingin nyo, kung say for example, no, 30 days ang inyong credit term, pero ang lumalabas na number of days nyo in receivables is like 60 days. Is that good or bad for the company? Lloyd? Oh, kung 30 days ang credit term mo, tapos lumabas sa yung analysis, sa number of days sales mo in receivables, 60 days. So is that good or bad? Bakit?
Mababa yung
Ha? Anong mababa? Mataas nga. Yung isa, 60 days sa 30 days. Ano ba mas mataas? 60 o 30? Di ba 60? Hindi. Ang ano doon is anong ibig sabihin doon? Sila ay hindi nakakakolekta on time. 'Di ba? Kasi 30 days lang ang kanilang credit terms, pero nakakolekta sila ng 60 days. 'Di ba? So yun ang mga sitwasyon na dapat nating iwasan. No, anong ibig sabihin noon? You have to talk to your kung ikaw yung finance manager, no, at meron kayong credit and collections department, you have to talk to your credit and collections department, no? What extra effort are you doing in order to collect? Kasi kung gano'n ang gano'n, 60 days bago makakolekta, 30 days lang ang credit terms natin, anong mangyayari? The company may run out of cash. At kapag naubusan sila ng pera, anong mangyayari? Then they have to resort to, again, external financing. Yung mga bank financing na naman, utang-utang na naman, di ba? So pag nagkautang na naman sila, anong mangyayari? They have to pay interest. So imbes na yung income nila lumalaki, lumiliit because it's being eaten up by the interest expense. Nakuha? Okay? So, kapag ang yung problema ay yung number of days sale in inventory, anong gagawin mo? Ang dapat mo kausapin yung marketing nyo. Marketing or sales division. What are they doing in order for the company to increase yung inyong number of days sale in inventory? 'Di ba? Yung number of times na nakakabenta kayo. Kung 12 times lang yan, ibig sabihin isang item, it would take you like 30 days for you to sell it. 'Di ba? So you can ask the sales department or marketing department, what are you doing, no? For you to be able to, for the company to be able to, to raise yung level of revenue natin, and therefore yung ating inventory, no, ay malalabas agad. Because remember, prone din yan sa mga problems, diba? Like say for example, inventory pilferage, baka mamaya nanakaw na pala ng mga empleyado, diba? So you have to be aware of that. O kaya kung depende pa rin sa inyong nature ng negosyo. Pag perishable yan, hindi maganda. Ibig sabihin na pag perishable yan, napapanisan na kayo, di ba? Kasi baka mamaya hindi nyo nabebenta ng yung mga items nyo dahil hindi ganun kataas ang benta nyo. Walang effort from your marketing or sales group, no, to sell inventories. Okay? Nakuha ba guys? Kung ano ang use ng efficiency ratios na yan. So, remember, no, kailangan yung i-monitor yung inventory at inyong days in terms of receivables, no? Because that will help the company in terms of being liquid, no? Being liquid. Okay? Because if you can sell, inventories more, no, and if you can collect more, then the company will be in a better cash position. Okay? So, yun ang inyong tatandaan. Next, ratios. Yan. Leverage or debt ratio. Okay, so indicate whether a firm is using the appropriate amount of debt financing. Now, in general, higher ratios indicate greater potential return and greater bankruptcy risk. So habang lumalaki itong ratio na to, nagkakaroon ng problema yung company when it comes to bankruptcy. Ibig sabihin, they're now depending too much on external financing rather than internal financing. Mas internal financing that will be coming from the company's operations and probably shareholders, shareholders investments. So pag siya ay naging dependent na sa external financing as having a lot of loans from the banks, and of course yung mga supplier of goods and services niya, anong posibleng mangyari? Posibleng wala na siyang pambayad ng mga utang in the future kasi the more loans you have with the bank, the more interest that you have to pay. Not only the interest but also the principal. So it's eating up your income. Baka imbis na income, maging loss ka na. I had one client na ganyan, nagkaroon ng problema talaga in terms of operations, because they were affected by the economic downturn back in the probably 2009, 2010, when we had that Asian crisis, So nangyari, sobrang laki ng utang nila. And you know what happened? The creditors, especially mga bank creditors nila, they filed for them to be able to take over of the company's operations. So yun ang isang problem dyan because that is prone to creditor takeover. Kapag masyado ng mataas ang utang ng company, ang utang niya, kasi nga naman the creditors will also have to protect their interest. So kinakailangan nila na ma-secure, So if they will take hold of the assets of the company, they can sell it off and then pay off yung utang ng kumpanya sa kanila. Whatever is the excess will be returned to the owner of the company. Okay, so ano yung number 1 dyan? Total debt ratio. So total debt divided by the total asset. So ano ibig sabihin niya? Pag mas malaki yung debt mo than your asset, like say for example, ang lumabas is 1.5. So ibig sabihin, for every 1 peso of assets, ang liabilities mo ay 150. Okay? So kung ikaw ang creditor, kapag medyo malaki na yung total debt ratio, wag mo nang pautangin kasi ibig sabihin, candidate ka na hindi ka rin mabayaran. Candidate na hindi ka rin mabayaran ng company. Okay, wag mo nang pag-interestan yung interest na ibabayad sa iyo kung hindi ka rin naman babayaran. Interest and principal ang delikado sa iyo, So debt to equity naman, so total debt divided by equity. So ano sinasabi naman tong debt to equity ratio natin? Sa tingin nyo guys, anong sinasabi ng debt to equity ratio? So if you compare yung debt to equity, for example, lumabas 0.9, anong ibig sabihin nun? So yung ratio to ng utang tsaka equity, 'di ba? So magkano yung utang as against magkano yung capital provided by the company. Okay? So pag lumaki yung debt, say for example, ang debt mo 1 million, ang equity mo 500,000 lang. So mas malaki nga ang iyong tawag dito ang external financing than the equity provided by the owners. Number 1, baka undercapitalize yung company. So the company may want to meet with the shareholders and they may want to infuse more capital sa company for them to be able to be self-sufficient, Kasi syempre, yung mga utang na yan, nangyayari lang naman yan pagka walang sufficient capital yung company o kaya hindi maganda yung operations, So pag nagsama yung hindi magandang operations plus insufficient capital, oy, ano problema nyo? Ako'y nagdi-discuss Kayo ba'y nakikinig? Mark? Nawala ako. Ano yung pinakalas na narinig nyo? Ba't hindi nyo sinasabi? Kanina pa ako salita ng salita.
Chat ka na, sir. Chat ba?
Wala naman.
Sir, di namin kayo marinig, sir.
Ano yung last na narinig nyo? Itong mga to, hindi man lang nagsalita. Ang dami ko na sabi. Ha?
Sir, talk about
Debt ratio.
debt ratio lang, sir.
Ayan, so leverage or debt ratios, Sabi nga dito, yan, the higher ratios indicate greater potential return and greater bankruptcy risk. Okay, so sabi dito kapag ka mataas daw yung ating mga leverage ratio or utang, no? Meron tayong risk of going into bankruptcy. Okay, bakit? Because we are now very dependent on external financing. Ano yung external financing? Mga bank financing natin, no? Naririnig nyo ako? Okay, so ito yung mga bank financing. So habang ikaw ay umuutang, no, huwag kang makampante. Bakit? Kasi in the future, based on the agreement with the bank, no, doon yung malalaman kung kailan ka magbabayad ng interest saka ng principal. So it doesn't mean na pag nangutang ka walang bayad yun. You have to pay for those loans, no? So anong ibig sabihin nun? Your income is being eaten up by your interest. Interest from the bank loans. So habang lumalaki yung interest mo habang lumalaki yung bank loans mo, lumalaki din yung interest expense mo. Okay? Nakuha ba? Iho, nakuha ba? Iha? Hindi na naman sumagot. Nakuha ba? Okay. So for example, no, yung total debt ratio nakalagay diyan, total debt divided by total asset. What if the resulting figure is 0.9? Ano yung 0.9 na yon? So 90% lang, no, yung utang mo as against your total asset. So meron ka bang 10% na natitira, no? 'Yon. What if ang lumabas diyan 200 tawag dito 2? Oh, so for example, 4 yung total debt mo, total asset mo 2. So lalabas diyan is 2. Anong ibig sabihin ng 2 na 'yon? Is that good or bad?
Sir, nawala pa yung PowerPoint niyo, sir.
Nandito ako sa harapan niyo, paano naman 'yun? Oh, let us say that the company's debt equity ratio, total debt ratio is like 4/2. So 4 pesos ang tawag dito. 4 pesos ang utang mo, ang asset mo 2 lang. So is that good or bad for the company? What do you think, Christine de la Cruz? Christine de la Cruz, wala akong sinabing Joy. Christine de la Cruz. Oh, for example, 4 yung utang, tapos 2 yung assets. Is that good or bad for the company?
Bad, sir.
Bakit po?
Kasi po may tendency na ma-bankrupt dahil daming utang, tapos konti lang yung asset. So, hindi mo po mababayaran yung mga utang.
On the part of the creditor, kung ikaw yung creditor bank, would you extend a loan to the company that has 2 na ratio na yan? Kung ikaw yung creditor, would you extend, kung ikaw yung creditor ng company na merong 2, yung sinabi natin kanina, no? Mag-extend ka ba ng credit facility? Or kung ikaw yung supplier, mag-ano ka ba? Mag-deliver ka ba on account? What do you think?
Kung ako ba yung supplier, hindi po.
Why? Baka hindi ka mabayaran.
Kasi hindi na ako mabayaran.
Oo. Tama naman yung sagot mo. That's on the conservative side. No? Kaya lang, take it as, again, another opportunity to earn. No? Kung ikaw yung supplier, probably you could, what you can do is to, ano nga ba yun? Amend yung pinag-usapan dati na terms. No? Like say, for example, kung 30 days ba yan, di sabihin mo na lang, magde-deliver kami sa'yo, pero dapat cash. 'Di ba? Dapat cash. Kumbaga sa iyo kasi on the part of the company, that is still sales. Yung nagbebenta, yung trade creditor, no? Pero kung sa tingin mo na may problema na yung company when it comes to liquidity, no, masyado na malaki yung mga utang nila as compared to their assets. Kung talagang gusto nila yung produkto mo at talagang gusto nila ikaw yung supplier nila, you can negotiate. Magde-deliver kami pero cash. Para assured ka na pag-deliver mo ng items, bayad ka na kagad. So wala ka ng wala ka ng problem when it comes to payment ng utang sa'yo. Nakuha ba? So minsan guys, no, although these ratios will tell us kung ano yung mga mali sa isang company, no, but we have to look at the positive side. That is still benta. Tama ba? That is still revenue for the company if you're able to make the sale. But of course, we have to also protect the company that it will be able to collect kung ano man yung binenta niya. So the best way is for you to negotiate for a what? For a cash transaction. COD tayo, cash on delivery. So pag wala kang cash, sorry, hindi ako makakapag-deliver sa'yo. Kesa kung tatanggihan mo agad, mawawala yung yung relationship eh. 'Di ba? Mawawala yung customer supplier relationship ninyo. Right? So you have to look at the bigger picture. Hindi lang basta-basta, sandali, may utang to, blah, blah, blah. Eh di, just have to ensure na makokolekta mo. Eh di mag-cash on delivery ka. Wala kang problema. Na-deliver mo yung goods, may benta ka, meron ka rin koleksyon. Tama ba, Iha? Tama? Oo. Pero tama rin naman yung iniisip mo, yung sagot mo sa kanina, Iha. No? Kaya lang kasi, isipin natin yung companies, no, they also would like to have sales. So perhaps you can renegotiate. Negotiation lang naman yan di ba? Para mas magmalaman mo kung if they would say yes, di mas maganda kasi may benta ka, may cash ka. Right? Nakuha ba? Okay, so, pero sabi ko nga sa inyo, no, tama naman yung iyong, Christine, tama naman yung analysis mo. Kaya lang kasi bata ka pa. Wala ka pang experience sa real world, no? Kaya syempre, pag ikaw, for example, ikaw yung marketing o yung sales director, and you are burdened with, having to sell so much number of items and so much number of peso. 'Di ba? So, syempre, ikaw din, nagkakaroon ng problem when it comes to meeting your own mga KPIs na tinatawag natin, yung key performance indicators. No? So, ikaw, syempre, mag-isip ka rin ng paraan, how can I help my client? No? Para sabihin naman ng kliyente mo na hindi mo sila pinabayaan. Tama ba? Tinulungan mo pa rin sila. Okay? So, COD. O kaya, mag-require ka ng down payment. 60% down payment. 'Di ba? At least bulk of it. Kung for example, ang cost ratio mo is only 30%, o singilin mo ng 60% or 50%, 'di ba? At least na-recover mo yung cost mo, may profit ka pa. If you can collect the other half, ay di mas maganda, buong-buo yung profit mo. 'Di ba? Nakuha ba, guys? Okay. So nagkakaroon kayo ng wider perspective, no? Hindi basta ay wag yan, no? Kinakailangan, lalo ngayon pandemic, no? Marami sa mga kumpanya ang hindi makakapagbayad. Right? So kung ikaw yung supplier nila, ibig sabihin wala ka ring benta. 'Di ba? So you have to be flexible at times, but also you have to make sure that you are protecting the company's interests. Okay? Yan. Kaya mas maganda itong managerial accounting, kasi bakit? Kasi yung utak mo gumagana kung paano ka mag-isip ng solusyon, di ba? Financial accounting, more on records lang yan more on doing the financial statements. Pero itong managerial accounting affects the future of the company. Di ba? Your decisions that affect the future of the company. So mas maganda nga itong managerial. Tsaka hindi ka bounded by GAAP, yung mga financial ratio, mga financial Philippine Financial Reporting Framework natin. Okay? Then we have the debt to equity. So in debt to equity naman, gaano kalaki yung debt mo as compared to the equity, no? So for example, ang debt to equity ratio, tapos ba natin to? Lumabas ay 2. So ano ibig sabihin nun? Mas malaki ang utang kaysa sa equity. So the company is relying heavily on, again, external financing. So kinakailangan, you have to talk to the shareholders, no, para mag-infuse ng additional cash, no, so you can pay off the obligations, okay? Or finance the company's operations para magkaroon kayo ng benta at magkaroon kayo ng pambayad. Okay? Yan. So times interest earned. So for ratio below, a higher number generally indicates less bankruptcy risk and possibly lower potential return. So ano ibig sabihin ito nung interest earned natin? So ito yung earnings before interest and taxes divided by interest expense. So this actually tells the creditor, no, how, if the company will be able to pay off the interest. So hindi lang basta-basta yung pautang ka. Tignan mo rin tong times interest earned. Ilang beses ba sila nakabayad ng interest during the year? Kasi that will tell if they're able to pay really yung mga obligations nila. Okay? So pag ito ay mababa, huwag ka na magpautang. No? Okay, next. Ito, profitability ratios, no? Profitability ratios indicate whether the firm is generating adequate profit from its assets. So in general, higher ratios indicate better performance. So net profit margin. Yan, net income divided by sale. Yung pinaka-bottom, no? Ito, makikita mo rin ito pag nag-common size income statement ka, di ba? Because you are converting your net income as a percentage of net sales. So essentially, ito yung nasa pinaka-baba mo. So net income over sales, no? So ito sinasabi, ilang percent ng peso, for every peso of sales, ilang percent ang napupunta sa shareholders. So for example, ang lumabas dito, no, 0.9. So ano ibig sabihin nun? For every 1 peso, 90 cents ang pupunta sa shareholder. Ba, okay yun na. 10 centavos lang yung kanyang operating cost, no? Yun. So habang lumalaki to, ibig sabihin, mas favorable, no, sa company at sa mga shareholders nito. Return on assets, net income over total assets. So ano ibig sabihin ng return on assets na ito? Ito sinasabi kung gaano ka-efficient yung company, no, in using the assets to generate revenue. Okay, so habang lumalaki to, mas maganda, ibig sabihin sa mga shareholders, no, o ginagamit namin yung pera nyo sa tamang paraan because we are able to generate net income, no, net income sa inyong mga assets na binigay. Okay, so mas malaki to, mas maganda. And then we have the return on equity. So net income over owner's equity o yung total equity natin, no? Ano ibig sabihin nito? Yung return naman ng mga shareholders, no? Ito kasi sabi ko kanina, for every peso ba, 'di ba? So ito yung yung ating return naman sa mga investors natin. Okay? We'll skip the market ratios, no? Yan. So if you look at this ratios for time trend analysis for DS manufacturing. Okay? I took this from a book. So tignan nyo, if you compare the ratios, no, it would be better if you compare 1 year from the other, no? Like ito, he's comparing 3 years, so 2011, 2012 and 2013. So current ratio ano nakalagay diyan? 2016 1.67, 1.99 2012 and then 2013 2.75, no? So ano ibig sabihin? Yung current ratio nila ay tumataas. Right? Tumataas. Now look at the quick ratio. Quick ratio niya 0.72, 0.91 and 1.63. So what does it mean? Again, even though mataas yung kanyang current ratio, safe ka pa rin pagdating sa quick ratio because it is still more than 1 peso. So the company still has 0.63, no, as excess of their current quick assets, no. So medyo ito yung tignan mo, pero yung dalawa kasi like yung 0.72 and 0.91, medyo delikado pa rin yan, no, because ibig sabihin pwede pa rin hindi mabayaran yung utang sa iyo on time. Kasi next, inventory turnover. If you look at inventory turnover, no, 2.69 against 2.62 and 2.55. Okay? Kaya ano nangyari dyan? If you look at the number of days sale, from 135 naging 143. So, sino may problema dito? Tumataas o bumababa yung inventory nila? From maganda nagiging pangit ba? From pangit nagiging maganda? What do you think, guys? Guys? Oh, what do you think about what can you say about the inventory ratios? The efficiency ratios? Can you see the slides? Oh, what can you say? What can you say? Oh, sige, Charlene, what can you say about the efficiency ratios? Yung munang inventory.
Baba, sir.
Ha?
Baba, sir.
Si Christine yun na, si Charlene tinatanong ko.
Sorry, sir po.
Hindi, okay lang naman, no? Urbayo. O, Christine, sige ikaw. O, Christine, ikaw, ano nangyari sa kanilang inventory? Is it good or bad? From good to bad ba or from bad to good? Christine.
Sir,
Oh, inventory nila, what can you say? From good to bad or from bad to good?
from bad to good, sir.
From bad to good. So maganda.
Yes, sir.
Maganda para sa'yo. How about Mark? Oh, Mark, ikaw, what can you say? What can you say about the company's inventory turnover and day sales in inventory? From good to bad or from bad to good?
From bad to good, sir.
From bad to good. How about you, Lloyd? Lloyd? Lloyd?
Ano, sir?
For yung inventory, yung kanyang inventory ratios, efficiency ratios, if you look at the turnover, the day sales in inventory, is it from good to bad or bad to good? Lloyd,
Sir,
oh, is it from bad to good or good to bad?
sir, good to bad, sir.
Why?
Sir, buwan, sir eh. Pababa yung ratio na, sir, diba?
Ha? Anong ibig sabihin nun? Anong ibig sabihin nun, Lloyd? Anong ibig sabihin nun, mga iho-iha? Oh, Jenny. Jenny. Oh, anong masasabi mo sa inventory turnover nila? Is it from good to bad or bad to good?
Ano sir, sa akin, ano siya, from bad to good. Kasi, ang pagkakaintindi ko, yung sa inventory niya, nabibenta naman niya yung stocks niya.
Okay. Oh, what?
2011 hanggang 2020.
Okay.
Bumababa naman yun.
Okay. How about the others? Miss Bernadette. Miss Bernadette? Is it, yung inventory muna tayo, is it from good to bad or bad to good?
From bad to good, sir. Ay, from good to bad, sir.
Bakit?
Sir,
Why?
parang nagde-decline po kasi yung ano niya, yung sales inventory niya. From 2030.
Okay. Guys, okay. Ano sabi natin sa day sales in inventory? Ito yung number of times or number of days na nakakabenta sila. If you look at the day sales in inventory, guys, yung 2011 niya 135. Ibig sabihin, for every 135th or 136th day nakakabenta siya. 2011. Tama? Look at 2013. Ano nangyari? Mas umikli o mas sumaba ang kanyang number of days para makabenta? Alam, mas sumaba, 'di ba? Mas sumaba yung kanyang bentahan. So dati every 136 day nakakabenta siya, ngayon 143 days na. 'Di ba? Kaya tingnan niyo yung kanyang turnover ng inventory from 2.69 to 2.55. Bumababa. If this will not be, addressed, bababa ng bababa yan hanggang maging 1 na lang yan. So ibig sabihin, isang item lang bebenta nila every year. So hindi na maganda sa company 'yon. Naintindihan niyo? Naintindihan nyo, guys? Okay. So, for your assignment, sandali, may kasi ako. Ay, magbito kayo. O yan, binalik-balik nyo pa. Sige na ta. Sige na nga. Okay. Now, this is your assignment, guys. No? You have a copy of this, of this exhibit 4.3. Tama ba? Guys, it's in our LMS, no? Now, your assignment is to analyze this financial ratios, no? Analyze the financial ratios and then attach it to the LMS, no, as your submission to me. Okay? Nakuha ba, guys? O sige, yan muna tayo, no, yung financial ratios. Okay ba sa inyo? Ano, no? Sabi ko, gawan nyo ng based on this. You already have a copy of this exhibit 4.3, no? So ang gagawin niyo lang is to identify, no? Yan, ano ba yung sinasabi ng mga ratios na to? Then let me know. Say for example, efficiency ratios, inventory ratio, no? For example, yan. Yung inventory turnover sa day sales in inventory. How is it? Maganda ba? Nag-improve ba yung performance ng company o hindi? Okay? Kumbaga, you analyze these financial statements and let me know your thoughts. Okay? On the overall, kumbaga, in terms of liquidity, in terms of efficiency, in terms of leverage, profitability, wag na yung market values. Okay? Yun muna. Okay? So that will be your assignment and that will be submitted to me, no? Next week, gagawin natin, tayo ay magtatawag for recitation for this assignment. Okay? Okay, sige guys. That will be all for today unless you have questions. Oh. Yes po.
Friday po.
Sa?
Registration.
Di ba, mag-quiz muna tayo sa Friday. Pero assignment nyo yan.
Sir,
Oh,
Sir, pwede pong excuse na kasi po nakaschedule po yung biyahe ko sa Friday.
sino yun?
Pabalik siya Maynila, sir.
Ano no? Ano na pakiulit?